Hey, Elise and team. I am going to just answer these questions. My business background is originally, I spent almost 20 years as a marine safety advisor in the oil and gas industry. When I was 18, I hopped on a ship. I sailed around the world. I was the youngest crew member on board. And then after an 18-month circumnavigation, Lunenburg, all the way back around to Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, to, gosh, I don't even know how many countries, 25, 30, maybe more. Anyway, I had this epic adventure as an 18-year-old, 18, 19-year-old. And after that, I had such a travel bug. I didn't return to university. Instead, I started working my way up in the marine industry and getting my license as a ship's officer. But, it's like I always felt this disconnect inside. I always knew that I was meant to do something different, but I had no idea what it was. Um, so I just kind of stayed stuck. Like I stayed, I just, yeah, it was like I was waiting. I was waiting for someone to come in and tell me what else I was supposed to do with my life. And I hadn't yet realized that I was going to have to figure that out for myself. So, a series of let's call it divine intervention, life events, stuff. Yeah, just like, well, there was a car accident, which is on my about page. That was one of the big ones. And I had my own things going on with my own health. I started working with a coach and a business mentor, and I started going to women's retreats, trying to figure out what the heck I was supposed to do with my life. So I went into this like really deep period of soul searching and trying to, I talk about unraveling the beliefs, unraveling all of the things that had kept me stuck to try to figure out what I was really meant to do with my life. And slowly but surely, I started to peel back those layers and things started to emerge, like just super organically. But, I started writing and I quit my 9 to 5 job. I started my own consulting company. So this is kind of where things, business background wise, right? Marine safety advisor, quit my 9 to 5, started my own consulting company in the same industry, but at least then I could make my own hours. I built up this, great 6-figure company, started a second company with a bunch of, with 2 other partners. And we co-founded together a company that built apps for the safety industry. We won Best New Business in 2006. And as we were winning that award, I was realizing that I needed to get the fuck out of the industry, like completely. So I had started coaching part-time. I had started mentoring other women. I was working on my book. I think I had opened my Instagram account. So Instagram was the first thing I signed up for. I was completely social media averse. Like I wasn't even on Facebook. Yeah, and I just started sharing little bits about it was really, in the early days, it was just about my journey. It was about where I was at. Like, as anybody who has left a big career behind into something that's completely unknown knows, it's a huge step. It's a huge leap of faith. And I started sharing on Instagram literally to feel connected, to try to feel connected to other people, to try to put voice to what I was going through. There was nothing strategic about it. I wasn't trying to get clients, like none of that. I was just wanting to connect with other people. And in fact, I'll go back to my Instagram account and just see what some of the first things were that I was sharing about. And I'll send you guys some screenshots. So yeah, essentially business background. I tell people I'm an award-winning entrepreneur because I am. It was for the app company that I built. I've always paired like soulful kind of wisdom with being very strategic. And that comes from my background in oil and gas, where you would have multiple things, like many decisions, many factors, one decision. So I'd have to take like 10 things and make one succinct decision that was going to make a ton of people happy and comply with all these regulations. So I'm really good at like looking at all the pictures of what's happening and then figuring out how to bring that together. What's my current kick-ass business about? Okay, so I'm a coach and a business mentor, and I work primarily with female entrepreneurs who want to make money doing something that they love. So hey, Jackie, can you close that door? Okay. Thanks, honey. So the thing about like and I also work with like healers. So I say coaches, healers, and leaders, women who are basically trying to inspire others and transform lives. But the thing about this industry is that a lot of coaches and healers, undercharge and over deliver. So I help women really tap into what their unique gift is. So like that thing that's pouring out of them. And then I help them get super strategic with how they're going to price that, how they're going to sell it, all in a way that's going to make them money, but that also feels really, really good for them. So I say, 100% aligned with who you are, because I believe if you are out of alignment with your calling, with your purpose, then it's going to be really hard to make money. It's not going to flow. It's not going to be easy. And, so current kick-ass business is all about, so it's really all about helping women kind of go after the way that they want to do business in a way that speaks to like who they are on a soul level, but also so they can make really great money. I don't work with people who don't want to make money. That's like, and believe me, there are people out there who do not want to make money, which I know it sounds crazy, but they exist. They're not the people that I can serve, because I'm like fire. I'm super fiery. And it's when you work with me, it's like throwing fuel on your fire, and you're going to go faster and make more money. So where were you at with your Instagram strategy when you first talked to Elise? Oh my gosh. Okay. So I was sort of just realizing that Instagram could be something where I could get clients. It could be a platform where I could get clients. Before I met Elise, I wasn't strategic. I had like no plan. But I was seeing engagement with my audience. I was seeing that people were connecting with me and direct messaging me and commenting on my posts. But I was like, okay, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to leverage what I'm already doing with these people who are following me, and how to attract new followers. I had tried various different grid styles. None of them, I didn't stick with any of them. I was frustrated with like what to post, when to post. Honestly, I just didn't know like what I should even say inside my captions. Hashtags totally overwhelmed me. I didn't know what hashtags to use. So I would say I was just not being very strategic. What top 3 strategies did you commit to for your business's IG account that you saw worked the best? Okay, using stories people comment on my stories all the time. They say that watching my stories is like getting a real snapshot into who I am. So it's like this behind the scenes look at my life. I'm pretty open, I share on a limited basis about my kids, about where we live, about what we're up to. But I really like to show people, like I show up no makeup. I show up sweaty in my running clothes. I just show up who I am as I am, because part of my thing is I want other people to have the permission to show up as who they are all the time. So that's like what I do. Okay, so Instagram stories, I would say, is just such an incredible way to connect with your audience. Well, okay, so since I'm just looking at my account, since working with Elise, I mean, I'm going to have to go back, but I think I was almost at 500 followers. And now I'm more like 700. And that I think the grid, the if that's what it's called, like the pattern, right? I think the pattern has really helped. It's helped me, but I think it's also visually appealing to other people. So when they go check out my profile, then they want to follow me. So I think having a grid has been helpful, and it's something that works for me, right? It's in my brand colors. It also uses words, which I'm a big fan of words. And the other thing I would say that has worked well for me, okay, I'm probably going to say more than 3 things, but is like having a call to action. When I originally was posting, I was literally just talking about myself. And now I try to combine talking about myself with prompting my audience or my people questions that they can ask themselves so they can gain their own insight. So it's like I share a story, but then how can you apply that to your thing? And I think some people forget that. It's like they post their stuff, but they don't make it so that the reader can take that into their own life or their own day. So I try to like ask a question. And that was something I really learned from Elise, was like the call to action at the bottom of a post, but also in my bio. Like before, I didn't have a call to action in my bio, and now I have one. I am more and more seeing on my intake form, people say that they found me. So to work with me, you have to book a call, complimentary call. And I'm seeing more and more people on the intake form say that they found me on Instagram. So strategies. Yeah, calls to action inside my posts and also in my profile. And what else? What has really worked well for me? I really think that mix of professional, but also like normal human being, and being super, super real. Like I am just real. I don't show up and try to fake it at all. So if that's a strategy, then oh, consistency. Like I will sometimes take a week off, and I'm just like, fine, I'm just going to take a week off. But other than that, I try to show up on a daily basis, except on the weekends, and just providing like value. Try to show up consistently and provide value to your audience. Also honoring like who you are and your own kind of values. How did you cultivate deep relationships on IG even before hitting 1,000 followers? So I haven't even hit 1,000 yet, but I expect to soon. And, engaging with people, replying to comments, and also just being authentic, right? In my stories, I'm just normal and my humor shows up. And this is the interesting thing, because if you show up as you, then you will attract your ideal client, your ideal audience. You're not going to have to sift through all these, applications or people who maybe want to work with you and aren't necessarily a good fit. If you just show up as you, then the people who are attracted to that are going to naturally come in. So, showing up as me, engaging with my users, replying to direct messages, commenting back, starting a conversation, and then also like inviting people forward. So many people don't do this, right? They have a conversation and then they leave it. So they have a conversation in the comments or in the direct messages, and then they do nothing from it. If I'm having a great conversation with someone and I feel like they're a good fit to work with me or to come to one of my live events, I will absolutely say in the message, like, hey, if this is of interest, or like I'm hosting this thing, is this of interest to you? Or would you like to hop on a call so we can have a conversation about working together? And people are like thankful. They're like, yes, I'd love to. Would you really? I'm like, yeah, of course. So like being generous, and honestly, the people that I have hired and worked with, right? Elise being one of them, my own coach. These are women who were generous with their content, with boundaries, right? I'm not saying you should give things away for free, but being generous with your content and engaging in meaningful conversations, and being willing to give somebody something of value. When you give something to someone that's of value to them that they can use to transform their life or their business, when they're looking to hire someone, they're going to come back to you. Like they just are. So I feel like I have been nurturing some people in my audience for years. And then one day they're going to come to me and say they want to work with me. So it's like I'm in it for the long game. And I think that's really important when you're building an audience that's about like getting leads versus a whole whack of followers who are never going to buy from you, is thinking about it as a long-term game and being willing for that. I want to tell you guys, like, how many people come to me today who say they've been following me for 1 to 2 years and that it's taken that long for them to want to buy from me. Now, that's not always the case, but in general, you know, an audience can take that long to warm up. So and I don't say that to discourage people. I say that just to make people think about really committing and realizing that they're building a foundation that they're going to grow upon. Because with that said, the next question is, how did your IG efforts help you immediately get bookings from a single post? Sometimes I get bookings from a single post, right? And that comes down to having a really clear call to action, and having things in other places they can check out. So maybe the call to action is like to sign up for my Hawaii retreat, but then they can go check out my stories, or in my linked tree, they can go read a blog, or what else? They can get my freebie in my link tree. So there's this sweet spot, right? When your message aligns with what your potential customer needs to hear, that's when you can get a single booking, or that's when you can get a booking from a single post. And that is where knowing your customer is so, so powerful, which is why you want to nurture them in conversations, direct message, or in the comments, or even in an actual phone call, because then you can start using their language. When you can connect your mission and your purpose and your why to the pain points and the desires of your customer, like, you have gold. You literally have gold inside your hands and inside your words. People want to be heard. People want to be validated. And so that's what I say is the sweet spot. I think I say something like where your biggest gift meets the world's greatest need. That's the entrepreneurial sweet spot. Any Instagram advice for your fellow online coaches out there? I think I would just go back to thinking about building a foundation, and to look at Instagram as a growth strategy that you're literally building the foundation, and then you're going to start stacking on top of that. I'd also say, don't worry about getting it perfect. Like, just start. So many people are like, I don't know what to post, or I don't know what to say, or I don't know who my audience is. Like, and I'm always like, who fucking cares? Just post, just start. You will figure it out as you go. Fear of failure, perfectionism, of not being good enough, or not looking perfect enough, or you know, anything like that. That's like just conditioning and your limiting beliefs showing up. And your job as a coach is to move through that and to be a model for that for your clients. So show up and be imperfect. Show up and let it be messy. You know, some things aren't going to work out, but it's in the doing that you'll get feedback. And then you can take, like, so you do something, you get feedback, and then from there you take more action. I always say it's in the doing that you're going to get the feedback. So you actually have to do it. You can sit all day and plan and plan and plan and never do, and you're not going to get anywhere. I think the other thing worth mentioning is I am a fan of kind of selling before fully developing the content. And what I mean by that is, you know, like here's something for coaches. I filled my mastermind program. I don't think I even told Elise this yet. I filled my 6-month mastermind program by direct messaging people in my Instagram network who had reached out to me, who had commented to me, who I knew were interested in working with me, but hadn't bought for whatever reason. So I messaged them directly. I didn't advertise. I didn't post about this. I literally direct message people. And I am not salesy or slimy or anything like that when I direct message people. It's like truly like, hey, I'm thinking of you. This is probably a really great fit for where you're at and what you want to do with your business. Do you want to join the program? And I sold out my 6-month mastermind by doing that. I sold out my 6-month mastermind program by direct outreach, no paid traffic, no ads. I didn't even put it in my feed, right? Like I didn't. So the power, that just goes to show you the power of like networking and showing up and being of value, being of service to people, and not being afraid to reach out and message people, as long as you come at it from a super authentic place. I regularly make $5,000 to $10,000 on a weekend by direct messaging people to fill programs, retreats, coaching spots. Yeah, I think people are, especially coaches, are like afraid of how they'll come across. And in order, like, so I'm not afraid of how I'm going to come across because I just show up supernatural, super just me, right? I'm me, and I'm willing to stand in my truth as myself. So for me, it's been super empowering to have this Instagram strategy from Elise. At some point when you want to grow, if you're stuck somewhere and you've taken all the action you can take on your own and you're not getting the forward momentum that you want, then it's time to reach out to someone in your network, outside of your network, whatever, to reach out and get help. So that's what happened with Elise, right? I had done as much as I could do with Instagram. Like, I'm not an Instagram expert, nor do I ever want to be. That's not my zone of genius. And you know what? One thing I have done in my previous life, in my previous businesses, and in this business that has really helped me. I mean, I have hit 6 figures in all of my businesses within the first 12 months. My oil and gas, my coaching, like all of it. And coaching, I'm actually probably going to double my old oil and gas income, which is crazy, but totally true. It's like you get to a point and you can't do it anymore, so you reach out and you get someone to help you. Same as like web design. Like I built my first website, but then at some point I was like, my God, this needs to be better. I'm going to hire a designer. Like people are so afraid to spend a little bit of money because they're like, well, I don't have money. I'm like, can you afford not to? Like you need to spend money to advance. You need to invest in your business to advance. And if you're afraid to spend the money, it's because and I'm not talking about people who are like barely paying their bills, right? We're talking about a different group of people here. But if you're afraid to spend the money, it's because either you think the investment is not worthwhile or you're afraid you personally won't be able to make the money back. So it's really important to distinguish, like, what are you afraid of? And oftentimes, like right before I'm about to spend money on something, you know, I'll check in with myself and I'm like, okay, I'm nervous about spending this money, but that's because I'm nervous I won't be able to get the results. And then I have to think about where I have gotten results in my life previously. And then I'm like, okay, I can actually do this. Okay, guys, I could probably talk all day long, so I'm going to stop here. And if you have any questions, let me know. And otherwise, I will send you some screenshots. Okie doke. Bye.